Okay. Okay, so question is about two ideas. One is concept of nature of God, and one is formalized ritualistic ideology of a kind of experience of God called religion, and they are very different. So when the questioner says, did the people who write the Bible create concept of God? Of course not. But the formalized, ideologized concepts of a specific alignment to that God, of course, was created in the Bible. So you need to be clear about what aspect of this whole issue you're focusing on in your mind, because one is forsake a consciousness that is innate to man of something that is, for want of a better word, labeled as a god or the god. Let's call it the God energy. Now, what that means is that there is a belief and a instinctive choosing to acknowledge a thing that has been labeled God, that really is all the words that you could use. For example, spirit, for example, consciousness, for example, universal energy. All these things you see are an attempt to bring an intangible force, an intangible experience into a word that is very graspable by the human mind. And actually what all, for want of a better word, spiritual awareness is an experience. It's experiential for mankind to have a knowledge of God. It's experiential. It's not a concept of mind. It's a concept of feeling. It's a concept of experiencing it for yourself, so that when you try to formalize that into documentation form, perhaps the Bible or others, you can't help but lose what it is, because you're not experiencing it. You are transcribing it, you are reading it, or you are writing it in the first instance. And even if they had the best intentions, and I'm not saying they did, even if the first people to put pen to paper for Bible in this instance, but you could choose any doctrine, had the best will in the world to give detail of their God, its very nature is experiential and therefore not a written word. And so therefore you can't really ever get to what is, for want of a better word, God or spirit, or you call it, because it's experiential. And when do you experience it? You experience it in the knowingness of more than the physical being that you are. That's really all it comes down to, is when you know, when you have that moment of knowing that you are and there is more to this existence than the being that you are. That is the moment that you are experiencing God. That is the moment that you're experiencing spirit. That is the moment of energy of God. And you can't write it, although people try, and we understand. You can't even speak it as I'm doing now, because there aren't words for a feeling. People, and I will liken it, say love. How many millions of documentations of music, of books, of poems, of paintings, trying to encapsulate the experience of love. Do they ever fully achieve it? Probably not. Probably not, because each person's experience of it is individual to them. It's your feeling, it's your experience. You can't put that anywhere else and have somebody have the same experience that you're having. So whilst it's not wrong to put it into documentation, it certainly can't help to really offer to another person the same experience as yours. All it can do, really, and really all that documentation on God, on spirit, on energy, is to try and allow the observer of that document to find their own experience. And that's really what the goal should be for any document out there that's seeking to pass on wisdom of, let's say, God. So the people that wrote the Bible did not invent the concept of a God. There has always been an awareness, a knowing. In fact, I would say perhaps even more tangible to early man than now, that there was more to this thing you're calling life. There was more to this than the moment of which you are in, insofar as there is a greater existence than the body that you're in, a greater existence than the life that you are in, a greater existence than the planet you are on, a greater existence. And when we say greater, it doesn't mean better. It means beyond that of which you are consciously knowing today. And the Bible, it does in many ways actually try to offer people a glimpse of that, but in very didactic, very conformist, very regulated, constructed approach. And that just isn't going to sit well with a lot of people today, because you see there are new energy people that are looking for answers for self, looking for feelings for self, which is what you should be. You see, in the past, to sit and have a preacher tell you of their experience, and often it could genuinely be their experience of God. And they're trying to get that into you, and they can get passionate, and maybe for a glimpse some people will feel that passion and they think that that's experiencing God. You're experiencing the other person's experience of God, not your own. And so it's not wrong to sit in church. It's not wrong to sit and read the Bible. None of it is wrong, but is only going to be of use if it guides you to your own experience. And therefore we would say that the Bible in itself, and this is true of many religious texts, can be quite formulaic, quite strict and rigid in its ideas of what is and what isn't appropriate understanding of experience of God. And actually this is all man-made, this is all fabricated, this is all one. It's an idea of what it takes to experience God, but actually, as many people listening will already know, you can experience God any way you like. And it doesn't come down to a doctrine, and it doesn't come down to a formulaic recipe of this is how you experience God. And that's what's wrong with religion, and why it's losing so much hold on the people. The people are waking up to the idea that I need to experience God for myself. I need to experience spirit for myself. I need to experience this thing of extended existence for myself. And that's quite natural given the wake up and the energy, the vibrational reawakening that's happening. And you can't put old ideas onto a new desire. They just don't fit. So what you're looking for, what people are looking for are new ways. And so how they do that is they do it in other ways. But then those other ways can become formulaic and rigid and restricted. And actually what you really need to set people on is, look, this worked for me. This may work for you. It probably won't give you the same experience that I have because we're not the same people. But it may take you on your own journey towards your own experience. If everyone that was trying, even with the best will in the world, to offer a glimpse of God, shall we say, then there would be so much more freedom, so much more possibilities, and great energy illuminating this planet, because people would be experiencing their own ways, not thinking that I have to do this and I have to do that. And so you get new age ideas, so-called new age, and so you do the yoga thing, or you do the raw thing, or you do the vegan thing, or you do this thing, or you do that thing. And somehow they're also saying that this is the way to experience, for want of a better word, God. Of course it's not. It's their way of experiencing, and it may be a help to you to finding your own experience of God, but it's not going to be your experience if you just follow someone else's experience. That's not to say they don't have things to offer that are of value and that can take you on your own journey. But everyone should understand that everyone's idea of God, spirit, energy, universe energy, whatever you want to call it, and you really can call it all of those things, everyone's experience is individualistic. Everyone, no one has the same, because you're not the same as anyone else. And when you really dig down into that and contemplate what that means that God is available to everybody. God is approachable for everyone. And that experience of, let's call it God, is the experience that can transform your life, because what it says is, I understand the nature of what I am. And this is the misinterpretation of Bible, misinterpretation of religious text. You see, everything that is experiencing God is really to give you a fundamentally different perspective on the nature of what you are. And religion has kind of misplaced that a lot in the past. It's all been about God, and it's all been about what God is. And can we say that, for want of a better word, God knows exactly what it is, and it knows its own nature, and it knows what it doesn't need defining. You do. You're here living this life very specifically in this moment in time, so that you can help illuminate the nature of what it is to be man. And all religion, all experience of God, spirit, should be to get to a deeper understanding of the nature of what it is to be mankind. And really, when you find that energy, when you tap into that awareness for yourself, life changes. And that should be what any book, any speaker, any text, any poetry, any poem, any picture, anything that is trying to define the indefinable really should be offering, is to say, perhaps in this document you will experience a deeper awareness of your own nature. Perhaps. With love.